Alright, it's been a couple days. I haven't been around. Brandon has been here working on the, he got all the bottom cleaned up, and we're going to get ready to build this other side. The one going down this side that we had off. There's the one we got on, which turned out really nice. So we're going to work on this side over here. And it's going to be a treat because we got a lot of work to do to this piece to get it on and to make it look exactly like that side over there. So I'm going to get the table cleaned off. We're going to get to cutting some wood. Now the sides of these, like these boards here, are going to vary to what camper you have. We got 8 3/4 of an inch on this side over here. And these two sides over here, the one over here, that's the back there. It's 8 3/4. This one over here is only 7 1/2 inches. So we're going to be cutting a couple pieces of this 3/4 inch plywood at 7 1/2 inches. We're going to cut them off, and then we're going to put these two pieces together. We're going to put them together so we can have one solid piece going down that side over there. Okay, for this side, it's kind of angled down, and I just took this guy here, and you're able to swivel this thing around and get an idea where that corner is going to be, so I can get an angle on that board. Now these ones they had in here wasn't quite perfect for sure. They were just in there, but I want to make sure these outside screws right here, you're supposed to have 3 screws going down through here. I want to make sure all of them are in that plywood for sure. So we're going to use this to mark our end of our board. Now we got 2 of these guys down here. We're going to mark one right here, and then we're going to get it cut off. We're going to mark the other one, and then we're going to cut a total of 10 foot is what we want. Alright, after we mark that and cut it, as you can see, it fits so much nicer if you do a little better on cutting your wood. You can look at this one over here. This is how they had it done. It's not quite the angle that you want, but I'm sure they're in a hurry when they build them. So we're going to go ahead and start working on this piece over here. Alright, on this piece, this long piece, we needed 118 inches and a half. So we had to extend onto it a little bit, but we just took the router there and we cut a slot in there so we can glue these together. We're going to put them together, and to make sure they're square, we're going to put a level on the back side, make sure they're good. You know, our cuts are not perfect, but ain't nobody perfect I know of. So we're going to glue these two guys together and throw some nails in them, and we'll have our long piece. Alright, we glued this thing together. We got glue in here, and we got a lot of little brads in here, and we put this plate towards the outside because the other side's going to be exposed inside the camera. Okay, now for the these metal plates, we just took the router and cut a groove out just like they are down here on this one. These were 1/2 inch deep. We measured 6 inches down. That's what they are. We measured 6 inches down and 1/2 inch deep, and cut our grooves out with the router, which is pretty nice. It just fits right down in there. So that's the way them are going on. You're going to get a nice heavy loaded coat of glue on there, and we're going to clamp it into place. We're going to do just a little bit different than we did last time. I screwed the top of it last time. This time we're just going to clamp the top of it, put it up on there, and then put our stainless steel screws through the outside. We're putting one every 6 inches, 5 1/2 inches down from that metal. Alright, we got all our clamps on the top. Now he's just tightening up the stainless steel screws around the outside. Just to make sure it don't go nowhere, we got the glue in there. We're going to start working on this track right here. It has to go back on the top of here. Once we get it screwed down, be nice and tight.
Oh, freaking bug. That scared me.
Well, since we got the other 2 sides done, now we're going to get started on these 2 sides, and some of that where it's dry can actually be pretty tough. You can see Brandon over there priming pretty hard. But you don't want to bend your aluminum up too much. You want to try to be as easy as you can, not bend it up too much. So now that we got these 2 sides on, as you can see, that looks really nice up there. I think this is going to work out really good. So it always looks worse before it looks better. All right, we're done for the night. We got all the sides. Everything's taken off of it. Just got to wire brush all that styrofoam off of it. And like I said, that other side sure looks good. And we literally put the glue underneath of these pans too. There's glue up underneath these, and then we screwed them on. So I wouldn't want to be the one that has to tear it back apart again. But as you can see, that turned out really nice. And tomorrow we're hoping to get at least one more side on, the rest of this cleaned up, and got a couple little pinholes. We got a little hole here. Actually, a screw fell up underneath of it, and we stepped on it and got another hole. So we got another hole to patch. So, but it's coming along. All right, another end to another day. As you can see here, we got both the other two sides on. Got the bottom cleaned up good. Now, where I was using that epoxy on these holes, some of them popped off. But the epoxy actually still covered the hole. But I found something that you may want to try that might even work better, is that lap seal. We put that lap seal on some of these. And of course, we're going to do the rubber roof on the outside. But you can see where we thought there might have been a hole or looked like a hole, we just put some of that lap seal on them. And we're just going to leave that stuff on there tonight. We got all the little wooden strips that go around. I do believe that's for your wiring there. And Julie put some primer on them. And we're going to glue them into place tomorrow and start putting our ceiling in there. So that's what we got done so far. As you can see, it don't look too bad. All right, what we did now, we started putting our wood in the top. That's just that 3/4 inch plywood. Same thing we stuck on the sides. And we have styrofoam there. And then we got a little bigger piece here in the middle. This is what's going to hold the air conditioner in. And then this piece of styrofoam, we're going to be taking it out. Actually, Brandon's cutting us a new one because he thought that he'd want to put a TV in the ceiling of this thing. And we figured it'd be right around the 8-foot mark. So when we put our luan down, we have something to, nail our luan to. So we're going to bring that styrofoam over just a few inches from that mark right there. And then we'll cut plywood in here again. And then we'll go styrofoam again. Alright, that's how we got it set up. We got a little bigger piece of wood over here so he can put his TV on. And then we're going to put that slat down the middle so that strap on the outside has something to drill into. Now we're just cutting the styrofoam to fill in the blanks. Hopefully that'll cut down some of the weight on it. And it's not looking too bad. I'll show you what it looks like once we get the insulation in. Alright, we got it all laid out the way we want to glue it in. Everything's cut to fit. It don't look too bad. We know that it's going to be heavy. Well, I can guarantee you it's not as heavy as all that styrofoam full of water that was on the top. And hopefully it should be strong enough to hold the air conditioner up good. But right now we're kind of stuck between a rock and a hard place here because there's a strip that goes down this outside. Let me show you this strip, what we're looking at. That little strip right there actually goes all the way down the center. And it's holding the aluminum up in the center, but right through here in the middle, the aluminum is kind of sagging a little bit. So our wood is not exactly on the floor. If we could have took that strip off, it would allow that to lay flatter on the floor. So we're kind of going to give it a day here, think about what we need to do to get that glued on there. And then we'll get her done. But we do got everything cut and it's ready to go. We just got to figure out how we're going to get it all glued down. And because we're going to screw it from the upside, we're going to flip it over and screw those boards on too, because we're still going to do the rubber roof. And that's going to cover up all of our screw heads and everything. But I think we'll be a lot sturdier if we could screw it instead of just gluing it. Alright, we kind of decided to put some of this foam board underneath the camper, and we raised the whole outside edge of it, all but the center. We had some 3/4 inch plywood and some of that foam board. They're both 3/4 inch, and we put it all but not under this strip right here that goes down the middle. So we have it good and sturdy on there now. So we're going to go ahead and glue that piece there, this piece, and that piece down there. And then tomorrow we'll get the rest of it glued down, and we'll put a row of screws down through the center. Don't even really care if we glue the foam board down, because there's a Luan covering that got to go over top of this. So I'm thinking this might work out. At least we got it to where the aluminum's resting against the bottom of the plywood. So it should work. Alright, we put some weight on it. We got the 3 pieces, the main pieces we want it glued down. So hopefully by tomorrow that'll dry up and we can get underneath there and put some screws in it. And then we'll start putting our Luan on the top of that. Alright, we got our, the glue actually stuck pretty good, we think, because the bottom is not warping like it was when we picked it up before, and Brandon's up underneath there right now. We chalk lined all the screws where we're going to put screws in it, and he's just up in there marking them. He's got a little jig there marking them about 6 inches apart, and we're going to go ahead and get that half up there screwed together, and then we're going to put this side up on sawhorses, and then we're going to put a couple rows of screws in there, and then screw that piece in there. And we're very surprised at how well it's holding up so far. It seems to be doing a really good job. So we're going to get the screws in there, and we're going to try to do something with maybe some wires. I don't know if he's just going to put the wires inside of a channel, or we're going to put wires in the roof. But we got the Luan ready to go. We get the Luan in there, get it glued and nailed down. This bad boy is going to be pretty much done. It's ready for primer and get put back on. We got all the wood cut now. We're just going to glue it down and put some brad nails on it, put it into place. Hey, you better grab him.
Oh, those make him sweat real bad. Yeah, that's what I was wondering.
Last piece to glue and nail on. Put yours, or should I put mine on?
Doesn't matter either one.
Look at this. Are you looking at clothes on. These are my old paint clothes.
But look, I came on this side.
Can this get paint? What? This thing? I wouldn't paint. I wouldn't paint the metal pieces. Okay, I might touch it. Do you think?
It don't matter.
I mean, I don't know.
I didn't know if it was
It's up to you guys.
Alright, Brandon got a coat of paint all the way around this thing, just on here and down to there. So we can put our track on there, and it'll have paint underneath of it. He went all the way around the outside edge. You pretty much can see that. Then we're going to put all of our metal and our tarp hangers, everything that goes back on it will be put back on it. And then he'll paint the center. Then we'll get it flipped over and put back on the camper. He's got all the tracks out here. He just took them and scrubbed them down with some, what was it? Purple Power, and got the air conditioner. We tore the air conditioner apart and cleaned it up real nice. The air conditioner really doesn't look like it's been used that much, so I think he got a pretty good deal there. Anyhow, we just got all this stuff to put on next. But we're going to let that dry. It's really hot today, and it's supposed to stay hot for a while today, so we're just gonna let that set, make sure it's good and dry before we put all the strips on. Okay, we're getting her coming along. We're actually putting all the track on now. It's not going to be long. We're going to be able to flip this guy over and put it up on the camper. Like I said, he got painted all the way around the outside edge. And we tried to do our best measurements as we can to put all this track back on where the canvas goes in. And I think we did a pretty good job. We'll find out, because when you put it on, our canvas got to go in all them strips. So I think it's coming along pretty good. Okay, Brandon got the paint out. Just putting a coat of paint on it now, so he doesn't have to do it inside. Probably have to put another coat once we get it in there, because it'll probably get fingered up a little bit trying to get it on, but still it'll have a good base down. It's got the primer on it. He'll probably throw 2 coats of paint on it now and then maybe a coat on it once we get it up. But it sure looks a whole lot different than what it did when we first started, that's for sure.